I thought I was ready. I had the savings, the plan, the freedom. After years of working, I was finally done. But no one ever asked, "Are you ready for what comes after the goodbye?" Because I wasn't. I spent decades building my career. It started with ambition, long nights, and a belief that hard work would pay off. I climbed the ladder, one rung at a time, fueled by coffee, deadlines, and the occasional pat on the back. There were sacrifices, missed birthdays, skipped vacations, and countless weekends blurred into Monday mornings. Meetings, deadlines, promotions, pressure. They were all a part of my daily life. The constant buzz of emails, the urgency of last-minute presentations, the pressure to perform, it was relentless. But it also gave me purpose. I was needed. I was relevant. I was part of something bigger than myself. But they also gave me rhythm and a reason to wake up. That morning routine, the alarm, the shower, the tie, it grounded me. It gave structure to my days and a sense of momentum to my life. For the longest time, retirement felt like a dream, a distant, golden horizon I was always working toward. I imagined freedom, adventure, and rest. I pictured myself traveling the world, reading books I never had time for, and finally catching up on sleep. Travel more, sleep more, worry less. That was the promise. A life without alarms, without meetings, without stress. Just peace, joy, and time. Time to live on my own terms. And when I hit 62, I said to myself, this is it. I've earned my peace. I circled the date on the calendar, raised a glass, and let the weight of decades slowly lift off my shoulders. So I retired. Just like that. One final meeting, one handshake, one farewell lunch. I walked out of that office for the last time, heart full, eyes misty, unsure if I was ready, but certain it was time. Then I came home, and silence began. No emails, no calls, just the ticking of the clock and the hum of the fridge. It was peaceful, but also unfamiliar. A new chapter had begun, and I wasn't quite sure how to read it yet. At first, I loved it. Waking up late, reading the paper slowly, the quiet hum of the morning, the smell of fresh coffee, the sunlight spilling across the table. It all felt like a reward after years of rushing. I had time to breathe, to notice the little things. I thought, this is what freedom feels like. I'd take long walks with no destination in mind. Just me, the breeze, and the sound of my own footsteps. There was no clock ticking in the background, no emails waiting, no meetings to prepare for. It was peaceful. For a while, that peace felt like a gift. But after a while, I noticed something. Time felt heavy, not in a dramatic way, more like a slow, creeping weight that settled in quietly. The days stretched out, not with possibility, but with uncertainty. Mornings were quiet, but not peaceful. The silence started to echo. I missed the buzz, the purpose, the reason to get dressed and get going. Days felt long, but not meaningful. I had time, but I didn't know what to do with it. I wasn't tired, but I wasn't energized either. I was just still. I didn't miss the job. I missed the structure, the rhythm, the sense that each day had a shape, a purpose, a reason to begin and a reason to end. I missed having somewhere to be and someone expecting me. I missed being part of something bigger than myself, a team, a mission, a goal. And what surprised me most was this. I started to question myself. Was I still useful? Was I still needed? Without the deadlines and the deliverables, who was I to anyone? And then the hardest question. Who am I now? Without the title, the deadlines, the routine. When the applause fades and the calendar clears, what's left? That's the weight of time. Not just having it, but figuring out how to carry it. It didn't happen overnight. At first, the days felt long and empty, like I was drifting without direction. I had spent so many years focused on work, on responsibilities, on being needed. And then suddenly, all of that was gone. I wasn't sure who I was without it, but slowly, I began to rebuild a new kind of purpose. I started small, writing in a journal each morning, taking short walks just to feel the sun on my face. It was quiet, but it was something. I started volunteering once a week at a local shelter. The first time I walked in, I was nervous. But the smiles, the wagging tails, the simple act of helping, it gave me something I hadn't felt in a while. Connection. I joined a morning walking group. We didn't walk fast, but we showed up, rain or shine, and with each step I felt a little more grounded. I even picked up gardening, something I never had time for before. Watching something grow because of your care. It's healing in a way I never expected. I reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in years. We laughed about old times, shared stories we'd forgotten, and found comfort in each other's presence. We didn't talk about work anymore. We talked about memories, about the silly things we used to do and the people we used to be. We talked about music, books, life. The kind of life that isn't measured in deadlines or promotions, but in laughter, in shared meals, in quiet moments. Little by little, I felt alive again. Not in the way I used to be, but in a new way. A softer, more intentional way. Not because I had something to do, but because I had something to look forward to. A reason to get up, to move, to smile. Not because I had to, but because I chose it. And in that choice, I found myself again. If you're thinking about retirement, or already living it, don't just prepare your money. Prepare your mind. Prepare your days. Prepare your heart for the quiet. Have a plan for your time. Not just vacations, but weekdays. Not just doing nothing, but doing something that feeds your spirit. Don't wait until you feel lost to find your purpose again. Start small. Start now. Retirement isn't an ending. It's a shift from being useful to being meaningful. And if you're not sure what that looks like yet, that's okay. What matters is that you keep waking up with curiosity. You keep choosing connection. You keep moving, even if it's slow, because your worth doesn't end when your career does. In fact, the most meaningful chapter might just be the one you haven't written yet.